Okay guys, we've got the same set we did before. I've got two Oculus Rifts plugged into the system, one through DVI, one through DisplayPort, converted over to HDMI. Both trackers are plugged in. Usually the first tracker you plug in is the one that takes over. So I came home today and the UDK special for Oculus Rift was available to download. It's 1.5 gigs. It took me roughly an hour to go. I didn't have any download issues this time like a few of the other files beforehand. Now there's a few common settings people are going to set. Most particularly is the screen percentage, which affects quality. Can easily be found in the, let's see. You're going to go to your default settings is C, UDK, UDK 2013, UDK game config. From there it is the default system settings file. And then we go into the default system settings, and what you'll look for is right under the scalability settings default, there's an option for screen percentage. It comes in at normally 100. I set up to 150. You can go up to about 200. What that will do is add a lot of buffer to the game, which dramatically increases the quality of what you're actually going to look at. But you could leave it at default. It's not a real big deal if you just want to jump in as quick as possible. Okay, so what we're going to do is throw up UDK here as quick as possible. And as always, we can actually go in and see in the Rift, and before anything's even launched, you can see it is just showing my desktop. You can see some Facebook icons and whatever. Even both should be about the same. Okay, so now UDK launches. This is the default. Just comes up with a quick tutorial. We can close that right away. And then the content browser usually shows up. Again, we can close this. We don't need any of this just to get a quick demo. So what you do is you get your basic block. It does have physics, so collision and everything is turned on, and then there's your little player marker. So when we start up, this is where our little player will start. You can hold the right mouse button. It'll spin you around the world a little bit. And then you can zoom in and out, and then you can also use your WASD keys to kind of fly around the world a little bit. Those are the basics. I'm not really going to teach you UDK today, and I'm still learning it myself, but there's plenty of tutorials online, so jump right in. And after that, I usually go and I switch my renderer up here. My card does support DirectX 11, which is definitely a nice upgraded DX9. Switch that there. And then we go into, what you're going to do is click this button up here to start on PC. Normally, most of the time when you're in UDK, you can actually use these, which will play directly in the viewport or in the editor button. But for the Oculus Rift, the way things are set up right now is you do need to click this button specifically, which is start on PC. So to open up a separate window. So we will click that. Usually it takes a few seconds, and then it'll pop open a window. Now it's all black, or all white actually, because the Rift is facing downward. I'll flip it forward real quick, and look at that. Tracking's already enabled. I didn't have to do anything at all. This is just the basic world that happens when you start it up. It's excellent. And the tracking is actually really nice. They do have a little bit of the predictive tracking settings turned on. There's plenty of settings you can adjust, but just the base settings again are actually pretty good. Now before we do this, you'll notice it's actually not in Oculus Rift mode because there's no stereoscopic and you don't see those large circles. So the quickest way to do this is you hit Tab. Sorry, you'll type stereo on, not stereo 3D. Just can't type and hold my phone at the same time. Click that, and then immediately you will see the double stereo now. It does have a little bit of the, I guess, oculation, whatever you want to really call it, but it's not still quite in Oculus mode yet. Sometimes it does pop right into Oculus mode, but what I found is I have to Alt-Tab back out of this into the editor. I go back down, I right-click on the window I was just running, and I force close it. And then we just open it back up again. It's just, for some reason, the setting just doesn't start at runtime there. So we open it right back up, and hopefully now you'll see it's actually in Oculus mode. The circles are pretty dead giveaway. And what we'll do, I'll throw you back actually in the Rift, as always. We're still doing the same HCC, throwing you into the left lens. Try again to get a good setting and not take an hour to do this. Hopefully get a good focus on that little block in there. It's amazing when you have an all-white world like this, the focus is a lot harder. Okay, we're going to leave it like that for now because we'll try to do something else kind of cool. And then I'm going to throw the other headset on. You see the world go kind of crazy. Oh, and you realize we forgot one thing, of course. And that is, my resolution is still full, set to 1920 by, let's see, flip to the desktop, change our screen res. You always want 1280 by 800. There you go, you can see it's mirrored across all three. Takes it a second, switches over. And there we go. Now we got all three monitors at 1280 by 800. So we can close that back up. Can reopen the Oculus window, and now we're good. Again, once you actually set it up, I'll throw you back into the Rift. And then I'll throw on the other headset. And as always, I'm still using the Xbox controller. I just prefer it. It's a little less erratic than using a mouse. Mouse is just really quick. So now I can look left and right and up at the sky is really nice. Actually laid on the couch the other day inside one of the demos, just looked at the sky and threw on some sound. It was really nice. So we can go over here. Now we can see our block. And it is in nice 3D. There's no real settings you need to adjust right away, but there are plenty of those. And then you can see the sun kind of washes everything out quite a bit. And you can jump up against it. And it all just kind of works. It does clip just because of the way the camera is set up. So you would need to adjust that normally. But it's just a block, so I don't really care. But the sky looks pretty nice. And we can always kind of go run over here. And I like to jump off the ledge. And there's the world. And I should be dead about now. And then it pops you back on. Okay, so we're going to do one more thing real quick because it's fun and we are in UDK after all. We're going to go back to UDK. Force close that window I had open. We're going to open that content browser. It's usually almost always open and generally in your way when you don't want it to be, but it does have everything in here. What you want to do is we'll go to Actor Classes. It's the second tab over in the content browser. And then we will go down to Vehicles. I'm going to click on a vehicle. We'll right click on our scene and then click Add To. And now we got a spaceship. Do it again for our Manta. Throw that over here. And then a scorpion for good measure. And then we add that in there. And now we're all good. Close down the browser. Again, fire on PC here. Give it a second to load. And it pops up. So we will go back into the Rift. And try to get a decent focus for you. I'll try to get some sort of stand here so we can see things a lot cleaner. Ooh, that's pretty good. Alright, so you got it pretty centered. I'm going to throw in the Rift. A little bit of Xbox controller. We'll take the car. And there it is. We're in third-person view, and everybody's always been worried about third-person games going to work. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, everything's in 3D and it's cool, and there's a little car below me. It's about the same as playing 3D and 2D, except, well, it's in 3D, which is always cooler. And now we have weapons and a moving car. And that took me about 5 seconds to actually get started, and most people just want to create racing games anyway, so now you've got one. Open our blades, drive around, and fall off the world. And then the car should be down there. And I'm dead. But you know what, we're not done yet. I think we need this flying machine. Oh yeah. Got some missiles. Now there is a way to use first person in the vehicles. You basically take one of the cameras and you adjust it and throw it on the nose of the vehicle, and then you're flying in first person, but third person's kind of fun and we haven't really tried it yet. I gotta say, firing and aiming is a lot easier in 3D. Especially when 3D works. So come down here. I do like doing this. Just flying up high, jump out of our vehicle, and now the vehicle's gonna fall on me. Oh, slightly. But yeah, there you go, guys. Unreal with the Oculus Rift from inside.